Well, Canada's Consul General was in the Hoosier State this week to meet with numerous business, political, and academic leaders. And certainly a big talking point this week, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, which recently overwhelmingly passed the U.S. Senate by an 89-10 vote. Now, Canada remains Indiana's largest trading partner by a wide margin. Joe Comartin is Consul General of Canada in Detroit, and I caught up with him this week at the Indiana State House. Talk about really the focus of your visit here and some of the relationships you'll be doing.
Well, overall, we do this once a year with the states that I'm responsible for, which is Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. And we'll spend a whole week in that particular state doing outreach work with political people in some degree, but a lot of it with the private sector and institutions, universities and upper level of educational centers. It's an attempt on our part to do much more of a connection at a personal level with leadership in those states.
Talk about the relationship, the trading relationship and otherwise between Canada and Indiana in particular, and the importance of that.
Well, the terminology we always use is we're your primary source of both exports and imports, which is true of 33 of the 50 states. And by comparison, you'll take your next 6 trading partners. They don't quite match just the trade that Indiana has with Canada. So it's a very, very important relationship, a very large relationship, one that we expect will continue to grow, and one that's been quite long-standing. This isn't new, but it does continue to expand.
As you look at the Indiana economy, there is a lot of momentum in the tech space, in advanced manufacturing, a couple of big announcements last week with Toyota and Fiat Chrysler. Your view of the Indiana economy?
Well, it's healthy, that's for sure. One of the things we have a bit concerned about has been foreign investment. It seems to have installed both domestic and foreign investment. And we think in part that's because of the trading war that I guess the U.S. is having with China, but even more so in terms of the negotiations and the process around the ratification of the USMCA agreement. Putting that behind us, I think, is going to give a boost to freeing up some of those investment dollars. So I think you're going to see some more announcements that you saw these last couple of weeks.
Talk about the USMCA and your view of the impact it will have, and to the extent you can talk specifically about how that might impact trade between Indiana and Canada.
Well, I think the big one we'll see for this state, and actually all 4 of the states that I'm responsible for, is an increase in the number of jobs that we're going to have in the automotive, the manufacturing sector generally, the automotive. I think we're going to see an increase in trade in the agricultural sector because of some of the changes that were made in terms of that. I think that'll be to the advantage of the U.S. I think in the automotive sector, manufacturing sector, where both of our countries are going to benefit from that. So I think those are the things we're watching for. I think a bit of a caution that the implementation process is going to take a bit of a time. We've done some fairly new things, both around labor standards and environmental standards. Enforcing that, making sure that it's complied with, will require some additional work. So I think the next year we'll see governments on all 3 borders working at getting that implementation as effectively and as efficiently and as quickly as possible. So
from an implementation standpoint, it's not going to be something that's going to happen overnight, so there'll be some work. There's work left to do on that.
No, it'll be a gradual thing. But I know from talking to our customs people, both on the Canadian and American side of the border, they're waiting for more directions as to how they're going to help implement that. So that's one area that we'll need to be spending some time on, and it will take some time.
The USMCA replaces the 26-year-old North American Free Trade Agreement. Supporters of the USMCA says it removes trade barriers, reduces tariffs as well. According to the U.S. Trade Representative's office, Indiana exported $13.4 billion worth of goods to Canada and $5.4 billion to Mexico in 2018.